Hey, besties.
Hey.
Welcome back for another episode of the Hello Bestie podcast. I'm Maggie.
I'm Tashima.
Today we kind of have an interesting one. We're going to be talking about Where the Crawdads Sing, which we have briefly mentioned in another different episode or two, but we actually went ahead and watched the movie. I watched it on Hulu, you watched it on HBO.
Yeah.
So it's streaming a few different places, but yeah, we're just going to be talking a little bit about both today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have a couple of questions.
Okay.
So how did the movie's early focus on the murder trial alter the tone compared to the book's slower reveal of the crime and suspects?
Okay, so you know how I feel about watching movies that I've already read the book for.
And we're aligned in that way. I think it's not like, at least for, I'm pretty sure
we're
it's
aligned.
Not preferred. Okay.
Yes,
Gotcha.
We're aligned. I like that about the movie.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll discuss more on this, but that initial part, I was trying to watch the movie knowing that I didn't know anything about the book. I was trying to watch the movie as if I didn't know anything about the book.
Okay.
So,
I mean, yeah, if you do that, then you're just taking it for what it is.
It's hard to do that when I've read the book and I know, nearly impossible, but I tried. And I felt that was very attention grabbing to open up with the marsh, these kids riding the bike, and here they see this body. And now the police are instantly, I felt like I would have been instantly intrigued and want to keep watching this movie.
It pulls you in, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? You didn't?
No.
Yeah.
I didn't. But I didn't do what you did.
Okay.
I'm looking at it literally comparing apples and oranges.
Yeah.
What is gained or lost by reducing Kaya's childhood scenes in the film?
Here's where I take issue with the film. I felt like there were major components that were left out.
Yeah.
One thing I was disappointed that they didn't have in it was when she got her period on the beach with Tate. I felt like that was a very important part to show just
coming of age
and him being there for her and how deep their bond went. And in the book, her brother had basically told her like stories of Tate used to come around and hang out, but he saw Dad do something to you once, like he threw you in the mud and laughed. So then he went and tried to, like, you know, get some straightening done with the dad, I guess. And the dad smacked him and told him never to come back. But obviously in that, they showed a similar scene like that. And then Tate taking the dad down. Right. The dad had not smacked him. So there was that little difference. And I felt like that was them trying to give some of that to show, even as a kid, he was trying to be protective over her.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we lost a lot of her journey and being by herself by taking a lot of that out.
Right.
Like, they didn't make him seem like the raging alcoholic that he was in the book, and how verbally and physically abusive. Like, you get he was physically abusive, but you didn't understand that he was spending all the money and all the nights at the bar, coming back drunk, and that she's like trying to make food for him and burning it on the stove.
Right.
Like, you don't really get that full, this was a real struggle for her, because she now has fallen into like her mom's role.
Right.
You know, not in an inappropriate way, but in a way of like, she's trying to learn how to count money. Like, they just made it seem like she just went from not being able to count to just being able to go grocery shopping, and that it just happened overnight.
Yeah.
You know, like,
and her dad was there one day, and then the next she's in the marsh picking mussels and taking
like,
them to
there was
jumping.
such a gradual transition that happened in the book, and you just lost all of that.
I don't think that they also showed how close her and her brother Jody were either.
No, he just was like there and then gone.
Like, all the siblings were there and then gone. And then the only thing that made you think he cared more about her than the others was that he actually told her that he was leaving. Whereas everyone else just got their shit and just left, which is crazy, by the way. Yeah. But hey, I also didn't like that Jody didn't have the scar that he was supposed to have. I felt like that was a prominent thing, because the point was made, and Jody even made this point when he went to go visit her, when she's asking him about the older siblings. He said, I could walk past them on the street and not even know who they are. And he said that in the book too. But when she saw him, she knew who he was in the movie, but in the book, she said that she knew who he was because he had that scar on his face.
Okay.
The dad, what the little fire pokers or whatever those are
Mm-hmm.
called, he had hit him with one of those when he
Right.
was a kid and had the scar from it. So I kind of felt like that should have been said. And also, Jody stayed with her for a few days. Like in the movie, it was just he came to visit, peace out, and left. He stayed with her for a few days, and they went and sat on the back of the truck and looked at the oil paintings that their mom had done. And he was telling her about the older siblings and what it was like. I just felt like we needed that
Yeah.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure. There's a lot that I feel
there was.
like
I like took notes on
was left
everything.
behind. How did Kaya's isolation come across differently when readers experienced her internal thoughts in the novel versus through film visuals?
Outside of Kaya's thoughts, I thought the marsh was beautiful. And the way Delia wrote about the marsh was really, really great in the book. I'm not like, I appreciate nature like anyone else does. I enjoy gardening. The book went into more depth about how long she was by herself and her struggles with all of that. The book didn't really do that, but it used her words to tell Tate when he finally came to visit her, when she finally invited him over her house. I'm lonely here and I don't have anybody. And, I just think the book went into more detail about her actual struggle versus, I mean, you would imagine it to be lonely if you're living out here all by yourself.
Yeah. I think the movie made her seem a little more desperate and like making that seem she was so lonely, and that's how she kind of fell into the clutches of somebody who didn't really care about her and kind of was used as like a side piece. The book more so gave you a peek into like how naive she was as a result of her isolation, and therefore it being very easy to manipulate her into, because she didn't trust him in the book. It wasn't like, oh, she sees him on the beach where all of a sudden she's hanging out where there's a lot of people, and then now all of a sudden he's like showing up at her house and she's a little hesitant, and then like they go out on one date and then he's just rummaging around in her house. The book gave more of that, I'm cautious of this person because I'm cautious of everyone, as my father warned me to be. And because he was consistent and then gave me companionship, I therefore grew to expect this person and appreciate their company.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So like with it being, despite it being a 2-hour movie, I just feel like overall, I feel like the movie focused more on this love situation than it actually did. Like the book, when you read it, like you can hear the waves crashing up on to the shore, and you hear the birds and like the wind blowing the moss and all this stuff, where in the movie you don't focus on it so much because you have like dialogue, not her internal thoughts telling you about these things and how much she needs it to basically like ground herself.
Right.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, that does. I agree with that. To your point about her just sitting and chilling on the beach, it was very odd. Like, why was she there?
All of a sudden.
They did a good job of making Chase seem like an asshole off the bat.
Correct.
I think the casting was great. I don't think we talked about that. Kaya looked how I would have imagined her to be. She cleaner. Because like in the book, when you think about a girl living on a marsh, I'm just thinking no deodorant, not much running water. It's just like
hairy armpits.
Probably really pretty, but just also just really dirty looking mangy girl.
Yeah, stringy, oily hair.
Yeah. So to see, I was like, she really was
shiny
pretty.
Forehead.
Yeah. Like wow,
she was spruced up. And even the marsh, like you saw the part around her house that seemed marsh-like.
Right.
But then it seemed like they went through a bush, and then all of a sudden
beautiful
they're like in a
oasis.
Florida oasis with like tropical trees and trimly cut grass. And I'm like, did they just time travel to like a Florida resort?
Yeah, like I said, it was beautiful, but in the book I just pictured things just being more rough, raggedy,
mosquitos,
rugged,
and just a little more humid than what I saw on TV. Like, I
Mhm.
expected them to look more shiny and oily, like
Like
in
they
a
live in a
marsh.
marsh. Yes,
Yeah,
I
like
agree.
a Louisiana, Florida temperature of humidity.
Right.
And I didn't get that.
Yeah,
I
I didn't
got
get that at
like
all. Same.
spruced up.
I was like, oh, look, okay, Kai, she's cute. Because in the
Yeah.
book, I'm just thinking like, some little dirty, musty girl,
Yeah, because
little
they
marsh girl, and
also,
she couldn't have helped it. I'm not making fun or anything, but it's just this is the impression that the book
from the
gave.
book,
Right.
correct. And even when, before her dad left, he makes mention of her wearing her mother's dresses.
Right.
Like, they just put her in this like little wraparound skirt
Mm-hmm.
with her dirty bare feet and smudges on her face, but she still continued to wear clothes that were way too big for her. And then as she grew up, Tate also made mention of, wow, she's like, these clothes actually now fit her.
Right. Right.
But they just made it seem like she just got all these like perfectly altered hand-me-downs from the church.
From the church.
bin.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Come on.
One other thing too, in the book, I really gathered that it was a big deal that Chase was talking to her. Like he was star athlete, really
Mhm.
big deal of the school, super popular, what on earth? I don't think the movie really portrayed that.
No, they already made him seem like he was just like a nobody. He's like, yeah, I'm the manager of the
Yeah.
whatever, and you just already gathered that he wasn't gonna amount to shit. But in the book, it sounded like he had a promising future and then just didn't amount to shit.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Why might the filmmakers have omitted Amanda Hamilton in the poetry subplot? This was a really big problem for me.
That was a major offense. I actually looked it up why they did that.
I'm like, this is why I don't like watching movies
Yeah.
after I've read the book or vice versa, because the poetry was a huge part of it.
It was.
But you took all of these things out of it and just made it about these, like, her liking these two boys and all of this stuff. Like, that to me, like, what the movie was about was such a small part of this book, and I feel like they totally missed the mark in that regard. Everything doesn't have to be about love and sex and drama.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is and it isn't at the same time.
I looked it up, and it's basically a time factor. They didn't have enough time to include
If you took
all the
lovey-dovey
things.
stuff out of it.
Yeah, I mean, you're taking a book that was several hours long and trying to condense it into a 2-hour movie. So I get it's not going to go. And then there's a part of me like, well, don't make the movie then. If you can't get the authorized time that you need, then maybe just,
Or cut things that are not as necessary. Like, you could have cut more time out of, like, him courting her and spent more time on these things. You
I
get,
felt
like,
like the
that's
whole
why.
movie went very fast. Like, I don't know that there's a way that they could have, devil's
Yeah, I get what
advocate,
you're saying.
I don't think there's a fair way that they could have taken all of this. If it wasn't this stuff we're talking about, it would have been something else.
At least let her write a little bit of poetry, but you just took her poetry and made it like background music. And
Yeah.
you really didn't understand. Like, it just sounded like she was just saying a poem, but you didn't actually give her credit that she was writing this stuff anonymously.
That was a huge deal, especially when it came to the final poem.
Yes.
The way and they tried with the whole water, the drawing of him with fireflies instead of the actual firefly poem. You needed that poem because that was an actual confession as opposed to him finding the shell. Like, the way they did it was an implication.
Mm-hmm.
The book was an actual confession.
Yeah, which it wasn't.
Right. Right.
Yeah, the whole thing.
I think the book missed the mark. Now, at the end, I still cried.
The book or the movie?
The movie, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what?
In the movie, I still cried, when she was found in the boat, although she wasn't there, like, dockside. She was out in the marsh, and he had to go look for her. Because I remember crying at that line, like it would be her last time going through the marsh. Like, I'm about to tear up saying it, like the book said that, so you guys took that away. And then if you're going to make a movie, and the book states how Tate, it was like 1 or 2 lines, but after he read the poem and found the shell necklace, which was not just in some random book in her
Under a
office, it was in the
floorboard.
floorboard. Okay.
Not in a hole cut out on a bookshelf just waiting for somebody to find.
He said that he could picture her. He tried to imagine her like on a bus at night and do they could have done that at the end. They could have shown her getting on the bus,
How she did it.
had some music or something. They could have done that.
Yeah.
And the fact that they did it, I was just like, what a waste.
Because it really made it seem like, oh, she didn't do it. That he just fell by accident. And I think they tried to make a bigger plot twist out of something that was a huge plot twist.
Right.
But the way they set it up, it's like by the time you got to the point where he found it, you forgot that that was even a thing.
Right.
You're in the moment of their happily ever after, growing
Right.
old together. In the book, they didn't even live in that house anymore.
Right.
They lived in a completely different house.
Right.
That was just like her little she shed.
Yeah.
And it also didn't touch on the fact that they tried really hard to have kids. And like all this part of their lives
Yes.
that just disappeared.
It was like a tree, then them being
They're
old.
And then she sees her mom and she's somewhere else, but then somehow she just ends up at the dock
Right.
in front of her house
Right.
that they lived in. Okay, sure.
Yeah. From the outside, I really tried to watch this movie without taking into consideration what I know from the book, as hard as it was.
Mhm.
Initially reading, I don't know that myself or maybe a lot of people would have invested in the movie exactly how the book was written,
Mhm.
like the whole Hollywood thing and them making a trailer.
Mhm.
So I think that's why they led with the murder, so I could understand that.
Mhm.
And that also explains the clip, what I saw, because remember when the movie first came out and we were kind of like reading the book or in the midst of reading the book, was like, saw a preview of her speaking in jail. It's like, but no, that was the thing. She was
didn't
a
speak.
G. She didn't speak at all. So
The
I'm
movie
like,
made it seem like her telling about her life gave the lawyer ammunition that he needed
Right.
to defend her, and that wasn't the case.
right,
It almost seemed like she put all the work in for him.
right,
No, he did that without her having to say anything
Mhm.
because he was a bomb lawyer
right.
and cared about her
Yeah.
and called the whole town out for abandoning her. That part I was really disappointed in, and I feel like they should have went harder on him holding everybody in that courtroom accountable
Right.
for turning their back on this little girl
Mm-hmm.
who raised herself in the marsh despite what everybody was saying about her and how everybody treated her.
I agree with that. And the whole how the police found out about all of this was weird. You guys
Basically broke into her house.
aren't sure if she did it.
Yeah.
You guys aren't sure if it was a suicide or whatever. Sounds like it could have been
Mhm.
either or. Maybe somebody was there with them. Maybe not. Don't know. They go to the bar. They hear townspeople talking about the Marsh girl. Then you go to her house, knock on the door, then break in, grab a hat that looks like the same fibers, and the next thing you know, you're like chasing her down and dragging her in your boat, and then she's in jail. Like,
Mhm.
where is the questioning? Where is the...
Right.
They cut all of that out.
Mm-hmm.
She was immediately guilty just because she was a Marsh girl.
Yeah. I think that they, like, I get the whole Hollywood spin and, like, needing to have that, I don't know, there always has to be, like, love interest. But,
Mhm.
so this is where I want to refer back to our issue with For She Is Wrath,
Mhm.
where in the book, you have this opportunity for a really strong female character. And then somehow in there, this really strong independent woman gets watered down.
Mm.
And like, even though For She Is Wrath, that was just the book,
Mhm.
but that's what happened in the movie. Because in the book, she is a strong independent woman to the end, and Tate is more of a supportive role in being her companion, and just them spending the rest of their lives just really enjoying each other.
Mhm.
But it just, I don't know, like, she just wasn't about that. And I feel like she just got turned into this, like, needy, I don't know what I want to call it. I didn't like that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because I didn't move her. Like, what moved her was the marsh. Everything about it is what gave her life and energy.
Right.
And they just kind of made it about, like, she was spiteful and she was hurt and she wanted to get her lick back. No, it was a more primitive thing than that.
Right.
Like, you had to circle back to the poem.
Mm-hmm.
The poem said it all. Like, it had nothing. It was more like world order than it was. She just wanted to make sure that she got her lick back for what he tried to do to her.
Right.
They just made it so basic.
What did you think about the hotel scene with her and Chase?
I don't know. I just thought that it was like, I don't know. It gave me an ick.
Yeah, same.
I was just like, ew. Because then, like, immediately after this thing happens and she's like so shocked, she's like, oh, I made this thing for you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
And then he wore it every single day for, come on.
He was definitely an asshole off rip.
Yeah.
Just basically one kiss trying to get it, and then she pushes him off. Let me take you home. Starts walking through her house after you're still on thin ice for what you just tried to do. He came off as an asshole initially. I don't think they really portrayed as much time as he spent with her, though. In the book, he was definitely the book. You could understand how he did some shitty things, but I don't think that the movie really showed how she could have thought that he cared about her.
Correct.
The movie just seemed like this is just like so this asshole person. She's so dumb. Yeah. Why would she even be with him? And oh, look, now he has a girlfriend. No, he spent a lot of time with her, was seeing her every day. Sweet to her, nice to her. Yeah. So that was why there was such a shock when she sees the engagement.
Right.
I felt like they made him into like an angrier person than he needed to be.
Yeah. I mean, he did turn out to be a drunk, but the movie didn't actually show that he really loved her.
Right.
Like, if he wasn't in a situation where he had to keep up his appearances, he would have given it all up to be with her.
Right.
Real talk. For him to wear that necklace every single day.
She had to have meant something. Obviously.
He loved her.
Right.
Which is why in the movie, when he's so angry at her, it's like, I never tried to change you. I didn't ever try to make you anything. Like, I accepted you for who you were, which was contrast to Tate. Who was like, I was afraid you would never leave.
Right.
You know, like, that's where you found, like, these two people who you thought, like, you would have expected that from Tate and not from him. Like, you just didn't really get that because there was not enough time. It just made it seem like he took her on a picnic and now he's trying to get in her pants. Like, no, there was a long time. Like, you could have accomplished that with a change of season.
Right.
To show the amount of time that he really invested in getting to know her. Like, in the beginning, yeah, he probably did want to do that, which the book shows.
Right.
But with a change of season, you could have seen where initially he was just trying to be the one to get the Marsh girl. Then he actually fell in love with her.
Right.
And how devastated he was when she found out. Not how angry he was and then demolished her house. Like, he was heartbroken.
Yes.
Because now he lost this thing that was like the one place he could actually be himself.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That movie pissed me off. I still got in my feels, but I was more annoyed than I was, like, touched.
Yeah. Yeah, the initial scene, so the lawyer gives her the shell book, and then she starts talking. When she stops talking, that guy is gone, and it cuts to, like, a police officer giving her a bag of clothes from, I think, Mabel. I was like, wait, where'd the lawyer go, though? That's like when you think of the old lady telling the story on Titanic. When she starts, she's surrounded by the people. When she stops, they pan the people again to show that they're still there. And then she gets back into the story. And then it goes back to, Leonardo DiCaprio and all that. But I just kind of felt like, unless I missed something, I don't know. It just seemed like she was talking to the lawyer. And then when she stopped, now the officer is in there handing her something.
But he was like, he handed it to her and was like walking out. So I guess I didn't question it. It just seemed like he was leaving.
Yeah, but she started telling him about like answering his question about I need to know more about you. So
Mm,
I don't know. I thought that was weird. As a movie in itself, if I hadn't seen the book, I would have thought it was a decent movie and
yeah,
I'd watch it again
for
for
sure.
sure. But just knowing, so what did it for me is I'm looking at the timer, like I paused it on Hulu and I saw there are 14 minutes left and they're still in the courtroom, like right before they're about to announce her. And I'm like, okay, so in 14 minutes, how are you going to show them trying to have kids, it not working out, them growing old together, her actually killing Chase, her getting on the bus, him finding the thing. So after that point, it just felt like,
Yeah, they just
guys,
wrapped it up.
you guys could have did better with that. But
Yeah.
yeah. So this situation, the book is definitely better than the movie, but the movie was still good based on what they could do. Decisions had to be made, I suppose, but
This probably would have been a much better TV series
I agree.
than
They
a
needed more time.
movie. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you could really make it page for page and give it its due, even if it were 3 seasons.
Yeah.
I would have been locked in.
Agreed. Same.
You know, like it's not full of action, but you really would have gotten to the point where you could fall in love with even the bad guy and know what it meant to her for him to violate her in the way that he did.
Right.
And like what it also meant for her to do what she did.
I know he tried to rape her in the book. Did he hit her
Yeah.
in the book? He did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, he did. Tate was like, "What happened to you?" Like people saw what happened to her face.
That's okay. Okay. It had been a while since I
And
read
she
the book.
made
Go back
more
and
of a
review.
performance of making sure that she was seen.
Mm.
You know, and like in the town being all dolled up and making sure that people saw that she got on the bus.
See, I knew she made sure people saw. It's just that little scene right there. I was like, I know he tried to do that. I thought he just pushed her down. I didn't know that he hit her and punched her and all that stuff.
I remember he hit her across the face.
Okay.
But I don't.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't. That was a question. I didn't write it down because I wasn't sure. Like there were certain things where when I saw Jodie first thing, I was like, "Where's the scar?" There's no mention of that. Okay, boop boop boop. And then he visited her, left. I'm like, they went around the marsh together. They went to the back of his truck. He stayed for a few days, and they just, brushed over that. But that was one where when he hit her, I was like, did that happen in the book? I don't know. I didn't get a chance to go back and look at it yet. So thanks for clearing that up.
You're welcome. All right, besties. Well, let us know your thoughts down below and, make sure that you like, subscribe, share.
Bye.
Bye.